Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello and welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm Lauren Bolander with Captain Rick Murphy. And Rick, you'll notice we've got Randy back at the workbench filling in for Dave tonight.
Hey fish fans, good evening. We're going to talk about some cool new products and I'm going to show you a secret swordfish bait.
You are? You promise?
Secret.
I am.
All right, Lauren and I are going to hold you to that. Thanks for coming up from the Keys, Randy.
Yeah, thanks, Randy.
You know, like every week, we talk about swordfish, a theme species, an awesome fish to catch. I caught my first one with Randy, and hour and 40-something minutes, but we do have some photos that were sent in, and let's take a look at them. We have Chase Vonador with a 275-pounder that he caught with Nelson Lane and Danny Vonador, Captain Danny, and then Johnny Chapman, which is the next picture, nice big swordfish on billable hours out of Key Largo. And then the last photo, again, Chase Vonador on the Pardon with Nelson Lane again, Danny Vonador, and what a beautiful fish. So, guys, keep those photos coming, but more importantly, I'm so excited to listen to what the captains have to say about swordfish. Now that I've caught one, I'm really excited.
Me too. We'll see what they've got. We're going to start it off tonight with Captain Jimbo Thomas in the Southeast region. And Jimbo, you can tell us more about the comeback swordfish have made in recent years.
Yeah, that's right. You know, since they outlawed the long lining form in the Florida Straits, I don't know if it was 10, 12, probably more like 15 years ago, those swordfish have made a great comeback, and fishing for them is very popular here in the region, and we do catch a lot of them too. So traditionally they were only targeted at night, but in the last few years, daytime sword fishing has caught on. It's about when we learned how to catch them in the daytime about 7 or 8 years ago. And lately, both the daytime and the nighttime bite has been good when the weather cooperates. And in the daytime, you want it calm because you want to have relatively calm seas to help hold bottom. When you're rocking around, it's hard to hold bottom. And I don't really care to be out there rocking and rolling at night either. Typically, we fish in 1,500 to 2,000 feet of water, which is anywhere from 15 to 20 miles offshore, depending on which part of the region you're fishing out of. And as for bait, from my experience, those swordfish, they're not very picky eaters. One of the most popular baits is a whole squid, but I've gotten bites on big bonita strips, dolphin strips, ladyfish, mullet, live blue runners, tinker mackerel. I even caught a nice sword on a 2-pound bluefish that we caught by accident on our sabiki rig. We dropped him down, got bit right away. And regardless of the type of bait that you use, you want to use a 300-pound monofilament leader, 10-0 to 12-0 hooks with lights attached up at the top of the leader, 8 to 10 feet above your bait, basically. And in the daytime, we use an electric reel, and depending on the current, we use anywhere from 10 to 18 pounds of weight to keep our bait near the bottom. Now, there are some guys that hand wind in the daytime, but that's a lot more work than I care to do. And then at night, the basic setup is to drift a spread of baits, either live or dead or both, at various depths from 50 to 400 feet of water on 50 to 80 pounds class tackle. And it seems like the swords that we catch in the daytime, on average, are larger than the ones caught at night. And the swords range from anywhere from 50 pounds, which is just legal, to fish of 300 pounds or more. So there are some big fish out there. Now, if you're heading offshore to do some sword fishing, keep an eye out for any dolphin activity because we've been finding good amounts of dolphin in 500 to 900 feet of water, mostly under floating debris. And the birds, they've been pointing out the fish and the debris for us. The size has also gotten much better where we were throwing a lot of them back a couple weeks ago. Most of them are keepers now. We've been trolling small feathers and lures while we're looking for the birds. Once we find the fish, we've been casting live pilchards, cigar minnows, and cut bonita to them. There's also been some frigate birds working over some larger fish that are chasing flying fish, and they're heading to the south. And for those bigger ones, we've been trolling under those frigates. We've been getting bites on rig ballyhoo and lures, and if we can get up the tuna tower and spot the fish, we've been pitching live baits to them. Now, I got a picture here. This is Leon 10 with a 28-pound bull that we caught under a frigate bird earlier in the week, and we also caught the cow, which was 22 pounds. So, nice pair of them there.
All right, let's go ahead and go inshore, Jimbo.
You got it. Inshore, snooker's still in all of the inlets, and with this full moon that we got, they're in full spawning mode. Live baits are going to get the most bites, and you want to try to match the hatch. In the north end, Live croakers, mullet, and pilchards are working the best. And to the south, it's live pilchards and herrings. And you want to fish your live bait near the bottom. And from what I'm told, it doesn't matter if it's incoming or outgoing tide. And the best spot's going to be in the evening. Now, I've also been talking to Captain Danny Barrow. He's been catching snook around the bridges of the Intercoastal Waterway from Boca Inlet north to Lake Worth Inlet. He's been using small live pilchards and 4-inch soft jerk baits on 1/4 to 1/8 ounce jig heads. And at least for him, the best colors have been green and white and silver and black. He's been fishing the shadow lines of those bridges on the outgoing tide. There's also been snook off the beaches between Boca and Boynton Inlets. Those snook have been following schools of small bait. They can be targeted from the beach by foot or by boat when the weather is right. And again, you want to match the hatch. They've been feeding on small pilchards. So if you got a well full of small live pilchards, that's the way you're going to catch them on. Otherwise, Danny's been using Rapala scatter wrap in green and silver. Then there's also been some bonefish in South Biscayne Bay. Captain Joe Gonzalez, he's been fishing from Key Biscayne south to Angelfish Creek, but he's been finding most of the fish on the inside flats around Broads and Caesars Creeks. There's been some tailing fish, but most of the bites have been coming from schools of fish that are mudding on the flats that have good moving water. And on the lower stages of the tide, fish on the edges, potholes, and basins of the flat. And with this full moon, we've had some extreme high and low tides. Now, it's been pretty breezy lately. Joe said that he doesn't mind that wind, and it actually makes the fish less spooky. But it's not as easy spotting them, and it's also a little more work getting the boat positioned to cast to them. He's been fishing with small live crabs, live shrimp when he can find decent-sized ones, and crab pattern flies.
All right, thank you, Jimbo. Great report. Thanks for starting us off. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sports grill hotspots from the southeast region. Inshore, look for the bonefish on the calm inside flats of South Biscayne Bay. Try a shrimp or a small blue crab on a 2-0 J hook. And then offshore, hunt for birds working over the schools of dolphin 5 to 10 miles offshore. Have cut ballyhoo ready for your pitch rod when you get out there.
Okay, nice start tonight by Jimbo. Right now we're going to head over to the Jägermeister workbench, and that's where we're going to talk about the La Jolla, Florida Keys. Captain Randy, we've got one of your favorites tonight, don't we?
Absolutely. Hey, good evening, fish fans. Let me tell you, swordfish is probably one of my favorite fish to catch. Ever since I was a young kid growing up in Fort Lauderdale, I caught them there, and I still catch them today down in the Keys. I like the daytime fishing. It's different. You really have to prepare for it because you've got different tackle, you've got different bait. You're going to the same general areas, but for the most part, you're bottom fishing. You're talking about 1,500 to 1,800 feet. You've got to get your bait down using an 8 to 10 pound lead, and conditions are everything. You know, you want a good current. You don't want it to be too rough. Like Jimbo was saying, the nicer days certainly make fishing more comfortable, but also understanding the conditions, the wind direction, and having the current out there helps you a lot. Now, the nighttime fishing, that's getting less and less popular now because everybody wants to go during the day. They want to see the fish, they want to see the fish jump and see the colors, but you can still go at night, and you're going to fish multiple rods, sometimes up to 6 rods at a time, and you're going to stagger your baits anywhere from 50 to 400 or 500 feet, depending on your moon, and you can get away with a couple of baits. A live blue runner or a rig squid is kind of a preferred bait at night, where your strip baits, like a barracuda strip or a bonita or a dolphin belly, something like that is your best bet during the day. So you certainly want to prepare. If you're going to daytime fish, your setup is completely different than your nighttime, but that's how you're going to go about catching these swordfish right now. This is the right time of year, now through November, early December, depending on the weather, you can probably get out there and catch one.
All right, let's stay offshore, Randy.
Blackfin tunas. You know, the blackfin showed up. It's a very popular fish for us because most people are going offshore trying to do some dolphin fishing. And also, if you're going sword fishing, you got to go right by most of the humps anyway. So a lot of guys are going out there. They're going to troll dark feathers way back. And you want to get away with 1 or 2 rods when you do that because you're putting your baits way back. And when you make a turn, if you're trying to do it with more than 2 rods, you can get tangled pretty easy. So something dark, a small dark lure, black and red, pink, or black and purple, those are good colors. Fish them way back. If you want to try to target the bigger fish, you've got to come out there with live bait. That usually means some sort of inventory of bait, because you need hundreds of live pilchards, for example, to go do it, or cigar minnows or sardines, but you can certainly target your bigger fish with live bait, and guys do it all the time. Early morning, late afternoon is the best time to go, or on an overcast day, you might have some good fishing all day. I've got a photograph of Shields and Stuart Ferber. They were fishing with me here a few days ago, and that's a typical blackfin tuna you're going to catch on a feather at the hump.
All right, let's go off inshore, bub.
Snook fishing. This time of year, we catch a lot of snook. We catch them sight fishing. We catch them in the deep water. We catch them, you know, on artificial with bait. It really depends on what type of fishing you like to do. I prefer bait. I like bait fishing with live bait, pinfish or pilchards. I like fishing some of the edges with a 3/8 ounce hookup, some of the shorelines, the deep mangrove islands. But plenty of fish around right now for the most part. It's a closed season now. It looks like they may open it here in September. But plenty of snook in the backcountry around Flamingo, also close to Isla Morada. There are some fish around the bridges, Channel 2, Channel 5, very popular areas for snook right now. You can catch those fish at night. Not much luck during the day with them, but night fishing is pretty good. I've got a photo of Stuart Berry with a nice big snook we caught, I think, in your secret spot, Rick.
They're always my secret spot. You wear my stuff out, dude. I love it, though. At least I know that it's not going unoccupied when I'm out there. All right, what else you got for us inshore?
You know, there's still some tarpon around, and this time of year, as you know, we've got some pretty good tarpon fishing in the backcountry. It'll vary with the weather, with conditions, with tide, with moon phases. You've got some tarpon close to home still, but that's a nighttime thing. Guys are going out at sunset, fishing till about 10 or 11 o'clock, and they're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and fishing till sunrise. That's kind of the routine right now if you want to catch a tarpon around Isla Morada. They're drifting crabs around the bridges, and if you want to go to the backcountry, there's been some fish out toward Flamingo area and out to the west of there, but it's really tide related, condition related, and as you know, they can be there one day and gone the next. I've got a photo here of Sax Nemo and Michelle Branhorn with a couple of tarpon we caught the other day. We never saw a tarpon, and we caught them that day fishing dead mullet on the bottom.
You got two photos or one photo?
There's two photos. There should be a photo.
Oh, there we go.
Of Sax and Michelle.
There's Michelle.
They each got to catch one after we lost a few.
Well, that's tarpon fishing.
Oh, it's amazing. And we, and that little episode, we had like I told you, had a backlash in it. And we got up on the fish, cut the line, tied it to another rod, and we caught the fish.
Great report. Thanks for coming up from the La Jolla, Florida Keys region. I'm going to go ahead and get to the hot spots from that region. Inshore, tarpon. Fish the bridges in the dark from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. till the sunrise, and then drift with live crabs under a cork. Well, the outgoing tide seems to be the best. And then offshore, blackfin tuna troll dark feathers over the top of the offshore humps from Key Largo to Marathon. And look for the birds chasing flying fish and get in front of them.
All right, now let's have a look at the tournaments that are going on in your area down there, Randy. Named for the man known as Mr. Everglades, it's the Herman Lucerne Memorial Tournament. It's set for September 21st and 22nd in Isla Morada. This catch and release tournament focuses on snook, snapper, redfish, trout, bonefish, tarpon, and black drum. Next, the Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge, scheduled for September 27th through the 29th in Key Largo, targets trout, snook, and redfish. This tournament benefits scholarship programs for students in the 7th through the 12th grades. Also, the Women's Fall Fly Classic, set for October 1st to the 3rd in Isla Morada, is an all-release fly tournament. Species targeted are bonefish, redfish, snook, and tarpon. And finally, the Robert James Sales Baybone Celebrity Tournament, scheduled for October 11th through the 13th in Key Largo, is the second of 3 Keys tournaments that fundraises for cystic fibrosis research and treatment. The Baybone targets permit and bonefish. And now we're going to hand it over to Andy Newman in the Keys. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Lauren and Rick, and we talked a little bit about the Marathon International Bonefish Tournament. It's set for September 19th to the 22nd. It's one of the oldest tournaments in the Keys, first started in 1959. More than 20 trophies and prizes are awarded, and it recognizes individual and team champions scoring the largest bonefish and permit, also top anglers in fly and Grand Slam divisions. And also there is that playful wet pants champion titles That, of course, is for anglers who wade from shore. Much more information on the Marathon International Bonefish Tournament and all the tournaments and activities in the Florida Keys on that Florida Keys website. It's flakeys.com, Rick.
All right, thanks, Andy. Great report.
For
Lauren?
anglers who are wading or might have other problems.
Oh, yes.
I don't know.
Maybe. We'll talk about that
Not
during
you.
the commercial break.
Not you. Stay with us, guys. On the other side of the break, we're going to head to the east with Mike Holliday, and we'll check in with Randy over at the workbench. We've got a lot more coming up for you on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Is this the Randy show?
I think it's the Randy
maybe
Show.
it
He
should
came
be
to
the
take
Randy
over.
Show.
I know.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Lottery, YETI Coolers, wildly stronger, keep ice longer, best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company, Chevy, the IGFA, conservation through education, get your hands wet, and Olukai.
You, sir, own a new Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickup on the road, and the best pickup coverage in America.
I never get tired of hearing that.
Nice call on the Victory Red.
Victory is mine.
The Chevy Model Year End event. The 13s are going fast. Time to get yours. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months, or current Chevy truck owners can trade up to this Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with $1,500 option package discount for a total value of $9,000.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector's Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
When the Spanish explorers discovered Isla Morada, they called it Purple Isles. Today, they discover such a rich palette of diversions and delicacies, they'd definitely be at a loss for words. Isla Morada in the Florida Keys.
Now it's time for the news and notes from the FWC. September 5th and 6th, the FWC Commission meeting is in Pensacola. September 6th, Adult Hunt Master Training is in Palm Beach County. And September 21st, Exotic Pet Amnesty Day is in Coral Springs. As always, you can find more information at myfwc.com. Right now, Randy's ready to take you off the deep end.
You know, I met you 30 years ago in the Florida Keys fishing in the tarpon tournament, and we were off the deep end then, and for sure over here at the Jägermeister workbench, we're off the deep end now. But speaking of off the deep end, swordfish are certainly off the deep end. So Randy, tell me, you know, not just the Keys, but in Florida, what are the general things, rules of thought that we should have?
You know, when it comes to sword fishing, it's really kind of a specialized species. You know, not everybody likes to do it.
Right.
But the people that like to go sword fishing, they're fanatics about it. They're into it. They have all the gear. They make the bait. They make their rigs. They really put the time in going and learning. And, you know, it's the basic rules never change. I mean, you know, presentation, having a good bait. For example, this is a daytime bait, and it's
now. Why does this make this a daytime bait over a bait that you would use at night? You wouldn't use this bait at night?
You probably catch a shark on it.
Oh, okay. So why is that?
Because
tell me why.
At night you're drifting,
right?
And during the daytime, you're driving the boat into the current. You're almost trolling, because depending on your current, you can't drift when you're 1,800 feet down.
Right.
You've got to stay into the current, so you're constantly on the wheel. It takes somebody on the wheel, it takes somebody on the rod, and you know, it's a combination of things to make it work, because
right.
you know, as you saw when we did it, you've got to keep that line straight up and down, and the boat's facing forward into the current, and your line appears to be behind you. Well, it's not, it's in front of the boat. So it takes a lot to keep straight up and down, and you're trolling. That's why this has a skirt on it, and when it's down near the bottom, it's trolling. I mean, it looks like a trolled bait.
All right, I have a question for you. Now, Jimbo said in his report that at nighttime you're going to have a spread of baits. It could be as the depths of 50 to 400 feet.
Correct.
What are you starting at, and why do you have 4 at night and only 1 in the day?
Well, because you're 1,500 feet down, it's hard to manage. Like I said, the boat's moving. So to try to do 2 rods down that deep, you know, wave catches you, you get sideways, you know, it's hard to go in a straight line. Some guys do. There are guys that have figured out how to do 2 rods at a time, but the night fishing, you can have 4 or 6 rods. You're staggering your baits 50, 150, 200 feet. You have them on a balloon, you know, 300 feet away from the boat, 200 feet away from the boat. So all of your rods you can fish kind of without getting tangled.
Mm-hmm.
And a squid's probably the preferred bait, or a live blue runner.
Okay.
Now, live blue runner's not going to work too good going down 1,800 feet.
Well, being that you brought up baits, what are the typical baits you'd use?
Any strip bait during the day, something that's going to smell, something that's going to give off an odor, because it's not so much the appearance of what it looks like as much as the smell down that deep.
So it could be a dolphin belly, bonita belly. Didn't you tell me one time you like barracuda?
Barracuda strips are great because they can eat it and eat it and eat it and hit it, and it doesn't come off.
Okay, now nighttime, primarily squid with a light.
Squid with a light, always a light. I love lights. I love strobe,
Even daytime
flashing.
light?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The nighttime live blue runners, especially South Florida, has always been my favorite bait to use a live blue runner. Up the coast, I know they're bigger on squid being the preferred bait. So I always put out 2 squid and 4 runners if I'm doing something. I'll mix it up to make sure that, you know, I'm not missing out on something, because they're gonna they like pinfish one day, like mullet one day.
I gotta know, we got red leader here. Is there something significance to that? They say at night, I mean, that deep, they can't see color. So why do we have red?
You know, it's actually, this is a piece of fluorocarbon. I fish a short piece of fluoro, and you see the swivel.
Right.
And I like for the bait to stay true. I don't like it to spin. And that's just something that I do. I think the red at night just kind of blends and you can't see it, or in the dark. And everybody has their things that they believe in. And I can't say it doesn't work, because I've won a few swordfish tournaments with it.
All right, so give me some secret number. If I wanted to catch a swordfish, what number can you give me a number?
305. 394-2667.
Oh, that's the number to go catch a swordfish.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, Lauren, you got the number. You and Tony need to go down to the Keys and go fishing with Captain Randy.
Wasn't so top secret, but I like it. I like it. And now I've got it. So, all right then. Right now we're going to head to see Captain Mike Holliday. He's in the East region for us. Mike, tell us what makes for good sword fishing in the East.
Well, Lauren, basically anytime you get calm seas is a good time to get out and swordfish in my region. The best action takes place south of Palm Beach and anywhere from 1,500 feet to about 2,000 feet. With daytime action seems to be a little deeper, and somewhere around 2,000 feet of water. Lately it's been a little tough sword fishing, but the nice weather for the weekend should allow some boats to get out and chase the fish. Swordfish action, you know, it's not red hot in my region. It's usually a little bit better to the south. I'm usually producing 1 or 2 bites per trip. Legal fish comes to every boat about every other trip. And really from now through fall is when we get an increase of swordfish anglers in my region. For baits, it's pretty hard to beat a rigged 10 to 15-inch squid, live blue runner, goggle eye, dead ladyfish. That's a really good bait in my area. And Randy just talked about sewn dolphin bellies and bonita strips. And at night, you know, the fish feed closer to the surface, so you want to put out, 3 to 6 rods at different intervals from 50 to 400 feet of water. Average swordfish in my region, 40 to 80 pounds, although fish over 100 pounds are pretty common, with fish seeming to get bigger as we get into the fall.
All right, Mike, before we go any further, I'm going to take a look at the Navionics from your region. Now, guys, we're talking about, Captain Mike was telling me the south part of his region, down near Lake Worth, as you can see here. But the key to this part of his region is we have an area here where we've got a big depth change. And in this depth change, you actually have what they call the hills. And what those hills are, we're at 1,200 feet here, it pops up to 1,000. And then all along this edge of these hills, 1,700 feet of water going all the way up. So you're going to want to set up in that 1,700 feet of water, whether you're during the daytime or the nighttime. The key is start to the south, and the current is going to actually lift you and run you to the north. So start way down south and drift north. All right, Mike, what else you got for us offshore?
Well, the summer sailfish bite continues to rock in 140 to 240 feet of water from Hope Sound all the way to Fort Pierce. I talked to Captain Butch Constable. He had 6 sailfish releases earlier in the week off of Hope Sound. And then I talked to 2 other boats that had 3 fish. They each had 3 fish off St. Lucie County yesterday. And all the action seems to be concentrated on the outside of the bonita schools, along color changes or temperature breaks, really temperature breaks. And the guys are having the best look of those that are live chumming with either juvenile pilchards or juvenile sardines. So, the sailfish are coming to feed up on that live chum. Then the anglers are pitching live Spanish sardines out on a 7.0 VMC circle hook and 50-pound Suffolk fluorocarbon leader. Now, you can also troll rig ballyhoo, either naked or with a blue and white or a pink skirt. And a lot of the sails have been coming up in pairs and triples. So be sure to have a couple rods rigged and ready to throw a live bait or a pitch bait out to them. Average sailfish in my region is 30 to 40 pounds right now.
All right, let's go inshore where you make your money, big man.
Well, coming off that full moon, the snook fishing's been consistent in all the inlets as well as along the beaches where most of the bait fish are holding. The Lake Worth and Juno Beach piers, Blowing Rocks, Hope Sound Beach, Fletcher Beach, Walton Rocks Beach, North Beach and Fort Pierce are all seeing good concentrations of fish running up and down that trough. The best stuff at the inlet seems to be on the incoming tides when they're getting that cleaner water. Get an early start, fish soft plastics like a copper juice or a Houdini-colored 4-inch sea shad on a 3/8 ounce jig head, or throw mag minnows along the outside of the minnow schools. And then when the sun gets up, switch over to live pilchards or threadfins or sardines, even finger mullet. We're starting to see some mullet out on the beach, first of the mullet run. Put them out on a 40-pound fluorocarbon leader and a 3/0 VMC circle hook. Average snook is 8 to 12 pounds. Just to give you an idea of the action, I got a photo there. That's Steve Wallace and Eddie Houdon with a pair of snook that we caught in the St. Lucie Inlet, and that was on the incoming tide. So that's been the hot tide in the inlets.
Man, those are pretty thick fish, bub.
They are, and just consistently cookie-cutter fish right now. Now, the other bite, if you get out on the water before dawn and focus on fishing the clean water sections of the Indian River, that's basically from Little Mud Creek up to Bear Point, or north of Fort Pierce, from Queens Cove up to Harbor Branch and the Moorings Flats area. Look for the mullet schools that trout are up and shallow and chasing those finger mullet at first light. And they're also around the minnow schools and also on the banks of the spoil islands on the outgoing tides. And really soft plastics are the way to go with anything green or brown working right now. Bass assassin dye dappers or sea shads and that water boy or copper juice or chicken on the chain or lime truce colors. They're all getting bites from the trout right now. If you don't want to, if you want to fish topwaters, go to the smaller ones, those 3 to 4 inch topwaters that better mimic the size of the finger mullet. Average sea trout 2 to 4 pounds. Guys are catching them up to 9 pounds right now.
All right, Mike, as always, we need a bass report, and you're our guy.
Well, we've had like a week of easterly and southeasterly winds, and that's made the eastern side of Lake Okeechobee the clean water side. That's the real key. Find the clean water. That's where the action's going to be. The bite's been really early. It's been hot all week. It's over by 9 o'clock, but from dawn until then, it's just been a free-for-all of schooling bass. Basically, the outside edges of the grass lines from J&S Fish Camp all the way down to Ritta Island. That's got the fish busting the shad schools at first light. And since the shad are the main food source, you want to throw something that looks like a bait fish. So, a dye dapper in that smoking shad or gray ghost color, or a white spinner bait with a silver blade, or a blue and white lipless crankbait. By the time the day heats up, you'll have 20 or 30 bass on your belt, and you can head in for breakfast. Average bass in Okeechobee is 2 pounds. They're catching them up to 6 right now.
All right, thanks. Great report from the East region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Bennett Auto Supply hotspots. Inshore, flounder around The minnow schools at the South Jetty and the South Bridge in Fort Pierce, white assassin curly-tailed jigs, live mullet or shrimp, and a jig combo is going to work for those flounder. And then offshore, mangrove snapper in 65 to 80 feet of water from the power plant to Fort Pierce Inlet. Cigar minnows, Spanish sardines, or pilchards, live or dead, are going to work for those snappers.
Okay, when we return, we're going to check in with the Panhandle and Captain Pat and the Northwest with Captain Jeff Hageman. Remember to check out our website, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at ChevyFIFR TV.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers. Everything for your outdoor adventures. Croquis. Made in the USA. Drummond Community Bank. Costa. See what's out there. And Lumber Rock.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
At highway speeds, things can get pretty windy. That's why the Chevrolet Cruze Eco has active aero grille shutters that close at higher speeds to improve aerodynamics. With an EPA estimated 42 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Cruze Eco offers the best highway fuel economy of any gas engine in America. Always thinking of ways to give you more while using less. That's American ingenuity to find new roads.
What is CCA? CCA has been representing recreational fishermen for over 25 years, and when your rights to fish are threatened, the CCA is there to make sure government regulators are making sound decisions. I'm a life member of CCA, and when fishery decisions are being made, the CCA in the room is fighting for our recreational rights. We need to give our kids the same opportunities to fish as we did. Do what I did. Go to ccaflorida.org and join for only $25 so you can protect your recreational angling rights.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Don't forget, the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report wants to see your photos. Head to our Facebook page and upload your best shots for your chance to be featured right here on the show. And if you'd like to be part of our audience, you can get registered right there as well. You know, Rick, fishing's obviously a huge part of our lives, but for Dr. Guy Harvey, I mean, this sport it truly is his passion.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So where are we going with that?
Well, we're actually going to take a look at
wildlife artist Dr. Guy Harvey has become synonymous with fishing, and one of his favorite messages to spread is the connection fishing can bring you with others. Fishing can be the tie that binds you to those most important.
The favorite two people I like to take fishing with me are my daughter Jessica, who's now 22, and my son Alexander, who's 20. They're both very accomplished anglers. They love fishing. They have a lot of patience. Endurance, strength, stamina, and they know what to do.
Luckily for the rest of us, Dr. Guy Harvey has partnered with the Florida Lottery for the second year in a row for what has proved to be one of the most successful games in the 25-year history of the state's lottery. The game's easy successes could have much to do with the majestic scenes of the ocean life we have all grown to love and that Dr. Harvey brings to life with each brushstroke.
I love to paint ocean game fish. And probably the most challenging thing for me to do in painting a scene like this is to make it look exciting.
But despite the visual allure of the Guy Harvey ticket, perhaps its real beauty lies in the incomparable way it works to protect and preserve the very wildlife that graces its cover.
The key thing about research work is that, and researching the animals that we fish for, is that we know so little about them very little money is spent on them. So this is a very good way of generating funds to further our knowledge about the species we love to fish for.
You know, Lauren, it's awesome. Not only is he a great artist, but obviously being a biologist at heart, he understands. And what I really appreciate about him and his foundation is that he puts that money back into research, whether it's tiger shark research, whether it's shark tournaments, whether it has to do with the group responding stuff that you saw there. It's just endless, and we're lucky to have him.
Absolutely, and of course, in our partnership with AFCO, we got all these great shirts. Thanks to Dr. Harvey.
No doubt.
I mean,
no doubt.
he's a great example of really how to make your passion work for the greater good, you know?
And that's why he's so good at it. He
I
loves
think
it.
so. You're right. You know who else is pretty good?
Who?
Pat Deneen.
Yes.
Yes, he is. Next, we're going to move up to the Florida Panhandle with Captain Pat. Pat, you say the summertime is the right time for swordfish, right?
Yeah, Lauren, we have swordfish in the waters off the Panhandle year-round, but it's really mainly a summer fishery. Some folks are fishing for them in the daytime by deep dropping, but most of them are spending the day offshore trolling for marlin or dolphins or wahoos, and then they sea anchor up or drift overnight and swordfish by drifting baits, and then they fish again the next day and come on home. The good areas are the spur, the steps, the east side of the DeSoto Canyon, the dumping grounds. Most guys are fishing 900 to 1,300 foot of water, but that's just a guideline. This summer we caught one in 6,000 feet of water. That was probably the biggest one we've ever caught. Fish several baits staggered at depths from 50 to 300 feet. We usually fish a shallow bait right off the rod tip, and then the deeper baits are floated away from the boat under a balloon. We use a circle hook baited with squid, Boston mackerels, flying fish, or a hardtail, 200 to 250 pound leader, and then we attach the light right up at the very top end of the wind-on leader, and that's also where the sinker goes. Sizes range from small little juvenile lawn dart size swordfish to 200 plus pounders. And at nighttime, you can also catch escalars, pomfrets, mako sharks. They're all caught while swordfishing as well. And there's a photo there of a nice swordfish being welcomed aboard by a grasshopper on the out of here. He's got his little bat in hand ready to catch him, and that was out in the DeSoto Canyon, I think, last summer. So we do have some good swordfishing, and it's nice to be out there offshore at night.
All right, Pat, the grasshopper still fishing with you on the outer hair?
Yes, sir, he is.
That's awesome. All right, well, what else you got happening offshore for me, Bub?
The king mackerel, Rick, it's been kind of hit or miss. The best fishing's been out on that deeper 180 to 200 foot natural bottom, but it's been hit or miss. It's fish along Mingo Ridge, southwest edge. When you find the fish, they're generally pretty good sized fish, 15 to 20 pounders. Slow troll, a live cigar minnow, a herring, a blue runner, or a small bluefish. And rig the baits on a wire leader with a hook in the nose and a stinger hook mid-body or down there towards the tail. Fish a couple baits on the surface, a couple baits deep behind a downrigger lead or a planer or a trolling lead. The fish are running 15 to 20 pounds, but you can also catch, some amberjacks while doing it. Definitely expect bonita bites. And if you're really living right, you may catch a wahoo as well. Moving inshore, I spoke with Captain Daniel Pike of Inshore Anglers in Destin, and he reported this past week some really outstanding speckled trout fishing in Chattahoochee Bay. They're fishing primarily live baits, croakers, menhadens, and pilchards, either free-lined or under a cork, and they're finding fish in water as shallow as 2 feet and also around the residential docks and in the marinas and at the mouths of the bayous. The lure fishermen are going to want to use a Miradyne or a subwalk or a popping cork with a DOA shrimp or a Trigger X Ghost shrimp on a light jig head. The water's really off-colored, so a subsurface bait with a clacker in it or the popping cork with the noise, it really does well for attracting the fish. Captain Daniel's been catching fish up to 8 pounds, which is a really nice speckled trout in our area, but 18 to 22-inch fish are more common. And then finally, the redfish are in all the usual places for this time of the year. So to Lucky Chucky over in Navarre, and he's been getting a lot of slot fish on the residential docks in Navarre, using soft plastics and live shrimp. And he's telling me there's big schools of rain minnows out in the middle of the sound in the channel, and they're getting hammered by the ladyfish and the bluefish, but what's important there is that the big bull redfish are hanging out underneath this topwater action, and they're catching fish up to 40 inches, and similar actions going on in our bay, Chattahoochee Bay, along the north side, down there towards the Mid-Bay Bridge, basically the middle part of the bay. If you find the surface action, fish below the activity with soft plastics, hooked on a 3/8 ounce jig head. And work your jig slowly below those schools of bait. The slower you work your jig, the fewer skipjack and bluefish bites you're going to get. But the redfish don't seem to mind and sometimes prefer that slower presentation. And it's, push and fall, so that redfishing should just get better and better as time, progresses.
All right, Pat, great report. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, speckled trout in lower Chakawaki Bay using live baits, either free lined or under a cork. And then offshore, work Mingo Ridge or the southwest break of the bottom fishing for the king mackerel. Boy.
You okay?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I think my amp is over amped me.
I think it has. Don't worry, we'll give you another break. In the YETI Northwest region is where we find Captain Jeff Hageman. Jeff, what can you share with us on swordfish this week?
Well, Jeff, are you there? All right, well,
you
let's
went
go
and made
ahead.
him mad.
We're going to go ahead and take a look at Jeff's report. First off, he talks about swordfish. Now, I can tell you without a doubt, in sword fishing in the Northwest region, you got to pay to play. And so Captain Jeff says that you got to run a long, long ways, and I'm grabbing his report here. He actually says that you go super sword fishery is the problem, is not the problem. It's going to run as far as you can see, and not of a lot of anglers in his region are ready to do that. So the key is that you got to pay. Most of them do overnight trips where they do the deep drop stuff and that you hear about. They're going to use squid. 1,200 to 1,600 foot range is a place over the night trips, and that's why, because they're running so far out. So you know the big thing is that when you got to go that far, you're certainly going to actually run a long, long way. So Jeff, I kind of covered your swordfish for you. If you want to give me a quick wrap up about it, but otherwise you can just go ahead and tell us what else is happening offshore in your region.
We really have great commercial. They do a lot of commercial swordfishing in the Gulf. It's such a far run, you got to make a really big commitment to go out and catch them, but we do have them. But also offshore right now, we got a little mixed bag. Captain Harry Connor of Hook'em Harry Charters reports, excuse me, right now the blackfin tuna, few sailfish showing up, and quite a few dolphin right now. You want to get out there, look for some sargassum weeds and a lot of frigate birds. Right now, the sargassum's holding a lot of little bait underneath it, and that's what these fish are keying in on, especially the sailfish. They'll come up and actually bill the little piles of sargassum out there, get the bait stirred up, and then eat them. Same thing with the dolphin. The dolphin are going to be found underneath them, and once you find the dolphin, usually the blackfins aren't too far behind. You can either get out there and slow troll for them. Once you get them going, you know, keep some chum in the water, keep the fish hooked up just like anywhere else dolphin fishing, and you can keep the fish going and hopefully pull in some of those tuna while you're doing that too. But take a lot of bait out there with you, chum heavily, and get them fired up. And there's a lot of fish out there right now. Also, going on inshore, our redfish bite throughout the region right now has been really good. The only problem is we just hit the moon today, and the fish are going to be moving around a bunch. I've noticed that all week we've been doing really good in lower Tampa Bay. Had a lot of fish, a lot of schooling fish, a lot of new fish coming in from offshore, big breeder fish moving into the flats. But with this moon right now, they're going to be moving around. So your normal spots, you're going to have to check a couple before you find them because they're really moving around a bunch. But top of the tide and the first part of the outgoing has been the best bite. The fish are really getting fired up as soon as that tide switches out and starts to go out. They're chasing mullet schools. You want to really key in the mullet schools. That's been the ticket in the lower part of the region. The upper part of the region, that first part of the outgoing is going to start flushing a lot of bait fish out, and you want to fish around the oyster bars and spartina grass, and that's been the ticket there. Also inshore, Captain Pat McGriff at Keaton Beach had something that was a little interesting in his report this week, and I thought I'd explain it. Right now, we've been having a lot of rain up in the northern part of my region, so the water's getting a little cloudy. It's getting a little stirred up, and he says, once the storm like this hits, you want to go out to where the water was stained before the storm, and the assumption the fish are already adapted to the reduction in visibility. And he said those fish are already going to be adapted to that dirtier water than cleaner fish, so that cleaner water might getting dirty might paralyze the fish and cause them to bite. You might want to try using scented baits, bright colored baits, or anything with a rattle in it or a prop bait behind it. Something's going to make a lot of noise and pull those fish towards your bait. And that was a pretty good tip. I thought I'd share that with you. But the fish right now have been averaging anywhere from 16 to 18 inches, and Cajun Thunders are really good for making that noise and pulling the fish in tight.
All right, Jeff. You know, I keep telling you can't be having that rum drink and that cordless phone before the report starts, so I guess we're going to have that conversation again. But I'm going to go ahead and get to the Drummond Community Bank hotspots from the Northwest region. Captain Jeff says redfish on the top of the tide, use cut pinfish or ladyfish for bait, and then offshore, snapper on the high relief structures in 40 to 70 feet of water. Use a tail hook shrimp on a 1/4 ounce hookup jig.
See, I think Jeff was just testing you a little bit. He wants to make sure you read your report homework, and he lets you mess it up just enough, and then he wants to take it back so you don't ruin the whole region.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's a little in, you know, a little out.
That's enough. All right.
It's just a little something.
Guys, when we return, we're going to check in with Captain Ronnie in the Southwest, and Randy's going to do a little show and tell from the Jägermeister workbench. Don't miss it.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by CCA, the voice of recreational anglers for over 25 years. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. And Maverick Boat Company, makers of premium brand boats. Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Hi, I'm Ariana.
I'm Natalie of the Miami Dolphins cheerleaders for Bennett Auto Supply.
When it comes to spark plugs, look to NGK, the world leader in spark plug technology. NGK makes spark plugs for virtually every automobile, motorcycle, marine, and small engine application.
With NGK spark plugs, you get improved performance and increased fuel economy. So just ask your local technician for NGK spark plugs, the leader in spark plug technology, available at Bennett Auto Supply.
Best parts,
best prices, Bennett Auto Supply.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Hey, welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Now, we're over here at the Jägermeister workbench, and I got to tell you, Randy, the new products hit out at ICAST was the YETI tub. So, tell me about this thing.
Let me tell you something. YETI doesn't make anything halfway. I mean, this is a serious piece of equipment. It's not a bucket. I mean, this is an insulated bait well, tub, fish box. I mean, you can do so many things with it, and so well made.
And what they actually, who knows why they designed this for, but what has really become of this is it's perfect for a keg. I'm thinking live well,
now you've done
because they got the drain here. Yeah. But you know, the key is that it's sweat proof, it's roto molded just like the other stuff. It also on the bottom has the bare feet so that it doesn't skid around on the deck. Now, you told me that you're using the one in your boat to where you take and flip your yellowtails or your dolphin and you put those fish into the bucket, and when the bucket gets 10 or so, then you take and put it in a chill tank.
You know, when I'm fishing, it's important I keep track. We're trying to catch our limit of whatever it may be. If there's a hot yellowtail bite, you keep throwing them in the cooler, you forget how many you have. That's perfect because you hang the fish over, take your de-hooker, get the hook out. When you get to 10, you know you got 10 if you're allowed 20 or 30 or whatever your limit is. And it's great to have them in one place to settle down before you throw them in the fish box.
Double handles, you know, to easily transport it in and out of the boat.
It's got so many
All
purposes.
right, so let's talk about the reactor. This is
different.
The what is it?
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie. The thing I like about this is that now it's not just a pilot's watch. It has a double bezel, It also has the illumination that Reactor is so famous for, but this would be a great watch for Lauren to wear because, one, she can keep track of all of Tony's lap times.
Right.
I mean, it actually has a stopwatch that's built into it, got the date. Great watch, you know. Yeah, exactly. As well as Reactor, anytime you buy a Reactor watch, you get the koozie to where you can put your cold drink, keep it cool, you know. All right, so I just noticed we got something here from Bass Assassin.
You said that's a secret redfish soft bait.
Well, this is the new color. It's Mama's 14 karat gold. But
what a name.
Do you think that this is going to work at Flamingo? It's almost actually transparent on the bottom with the gold flake, any tannic water.
I love the gold glittery stuff on redfish. I'm going to find out tomorrow because I'm going to throw these.
You can rig it weedless. You can put a jig head in it. It comes in all the different styles. You can get a 5-inch jerkbait, the 3.5-inch die dapper, 5-inch die dapper. This is actually the 4-inch sea shad. So Mama's 14 karat gold, guys. Look for it in your local retail stores. Figures, obviously retail stores. AFCO, you sell AFCO in the Florida Keys in your shop. Let's talk a little bit about the new board shorts.
You know, I've got the store in the Keys, as you know, and I tried to specialize in sun clothing. I mean, protecting yourself when you're out in the elements, they're important. These board shorts that they have are just very comfortable. They're a UPF 30. They've got some pretty cool designs on them, and they also have the sewn-in liner here, a charcoal liner to keep everything cool and doesn't smell. And
it doesn't get any antifungal in there. It helps, you know, obviously when we get wet, we have a tendency to chafe. And
not with these on.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly right. That's the preventative stuff.
And they're comfortable too.
One other thing, what do we got here? The Robo Cup, Randy.
Well, you know, we were looking at this, Rick. What an idea. I mean, here, this thing's going to clamp on to anything round, like your handrail or a tower leg or something on your T-top, and it's got multi-functions. It's a drink holder, it's a rod holder, or you can rig it up and carry your fishing rods. You can put your fishing rods in there.
After you get done cleaning the boat.
Yeah, you could have your brush here. It's such a multi-purpose idea. It's really, and it's made very well, and it's hard to open this thing. I mean, the spring is really tough, so it's going to stay on whatever you put it on. It's not going to slip and slide and move around, and that's certainly.
Hey, thank you for driving up from the Florida Keys region, the La Jolla region, and you did a good job tonight. Speaking of another person doing a good job, Lauren, what are you going to do for the rest of the show?
Aw, thanks. I'm going to do a great job.
I know you do, always do.
All right, now we're going to take a visit with Captain Ronnie Houston in the Southwest. Pardon me, Ronnie. Unfortunately, it sounds like you don't get a lot of action with Swordfish, of course.
Well, guys, you have to forgive me. I'm on my cell phone. They cut the phone line out in front of my house. I'm going to do the best I can.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, bud. We hear you.
All right, right now in the offshore report.
All right, it doesn't look like we're going to have Ronnie get in the phone zone too much. So let's take a look. I know that Ronnie in his region, the Southwest region, he does not have swordfish. So what he does have in his region offshore right now is the mangrove snappers. Nighttime fishing from Marco to Fort Myers Beach, concentrated on the wrecks and ledges 12 to 25 miles out. The fish can be caught on the wrecks, but the better fishing seems to be right now on the ledges. Now get a chum slick going of mixed chum and sand balls. Seems to be working better once you locate where the fish are. Now small cut baits such as shrimp, squid, pilchers have been working real well, and the free line live pilchers back. That's going to give you a better chance to catch a bigger fish. Ronnie, tell me about the king mackerels offshore, bud.
Well, right now what you want to concentrate on is while you're grouper fishing, there's been a scattered kingfish bite anywhere from Fort Myers Beach to Stump Pass. Concentrate along the wrecks, ledgers, and while drifting to hard bottom while grouper fishing. It seems to be a scattered bite, but fish hits have been averaging 12 to 25 pounds. Large live baits while you're drifting, such as thread fins and blue runners, or trolling large lip plugs, black and purple or blue and white.
but tends to seem to be better drifting the large baits. Like I say, it's a scattered bite. The kingfish are a good size right now, 12 to 25 pounds.
All right, let's go inshore, bud.
You know, the redfish has been good all over the region, but in one particular area to the north, you want to fish the late afternoon incoming along the west wall, Atlas Shaded Deer Stop Keys, and Regatta Pine Island Marina. Concentrate on the mangrove shorelines for the troughs running along the shorelines. Also, at the lower stages, look for deep potholes on points with current. It would be best to get to those areas before the water gets high into the mangroves. The fish will stage there and follow the tide as the tide moves into the mangroves. Baits include gold spoons, bass assassin 4-inch paddle tails and glow, chartreuse, and golden brim. And if you see fish and they will not hit any artificial, nothing beats a live pinfish this time of year. And for a prime example, Brandon Texador fished with his dad, Michael. We caught close to 60 redfish that day using that pattern. That's just a prime example. Also, right now, the nighttime snook bite still remains good, and it's due to the full moon along intercoastal docks and seawalls, due to the moon from Goodland to Wiggins Pass. Concentrate on the incoming tide after midnight until dawn. Also look for fish in the shadow lines. Swift current should be a must and can be best. You can use a variety of 2 to 3 inch soft plastic swim baits, the Bass Assassin 4-inch shads and salt and pepper, crystal shad and clear, and 4-inch lip plugs. Also in white, olive, or red and white colors will work. Sorry about the phone reception, but that's your report for this week.
All right, great report from the Midnight Rider in the Southwest region, Ronnie. Good luck out there fishing. We're going to go ahead and take a look inshore. Trout, Bird Key to Mormon Key, mid-morning low along the grass flats using live shrimp, noise-making corks, and topwater plugs. And then offshore, Triple Tail, Lossman's River to Coon Key, fishing wrecks, head pins, rays, buoys, and tide lines. Run and gun until you find that triple tail, Lauren.
I think I made him mad and he hung up on you.
Yeah, you're telling me you didn't get much action. Boop, there you go.
Sorry, Ronnie. Okay.
Insults never go anywhere.
Not very far. Guys, stick around. When we return, we're going to hear from Russell Theron in the Northeast and Jeffrey Page in the Central West. There's much more to come right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, the Florida Lottery, Best Parts, Best Prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Contender Boats, Performance Through Innovation, Navionics, We Start Where the Roads End, and Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, and diver.
You, sir, own a new Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickup on the road. And the best pickup coverage in America.
I never get tired of hearing that.
Nice call on the Victory Red.
Victory is mine.
Mm-hmm. The Chevy Model Year End Event. The 13s are going fast. Time to get yours right now. Get 0% APR financing for 60 months, or current Chevy truck owners can trade up to this Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with $1,500 option package discount for a total value of $9,000.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Make sure to check out our website at the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.com, where you can get daily reports from our 9 captains. Also, if you'd like to be featured on our show, upload your best photos to our Facebook page. And if you'd like to be part of our studio audience, right there is where you can get registered. Right.
Now, I got to tell you, Lauren, we got to remind you about the Wake Up, the Summer Yamaha Outboards Wake Up. Now, the key is, guys, this goes until the end of August. You can get 5-year warranty protection, or you can get $2,000 in dealer credit. Now, if you want to know more information about it, go to YamahaOutboards.com and take advantage of those opportunities. It's not going to be but 2 more weeks.
All right, covered a little bit business there. Now we got to get back to work, and we're going to check in with Captain Russell Theron in the Northeast. Russell, Rusty, tell us what we need to know to go sword fishing.
Hey, Lauren. Hey, Rick. Well, I'll tell you what, you might want to step up your gear a little bit. You want to have a heavy setup, especially with a long and large line to catch the mighty swordfish. Now, traditionally, most of the swordfish in our region are caught anywhere between 1,300 and 1,500 feet of water. The swordfish here in Northeast Florida, they feed on the royal shrimp, and you can find those shrimp by finding the shrimp boats that are trawling, and that's the best indication for their location. Now, it's said that most 98% of the swordfish in our region bite comes at night. And the use of lights are very important to fish for swordfish, just like we use the dock lights at night to fish with trout. And some of the records show that the nights fishing bites come best on the new moon. Now, the new moon is same as the no moon, and that's because you just don't have the competition with the moon. So you certainly want to use those lights. Typical swordfish in our area can run less than 80 pounds, but some have topped over 300 pounds. Right. Now, staying offshore, I've got a great report from Captain Todd Harris, and he has the Huntress charter boat, and Captain Todd told us that he'd been into some good numbers of some scamp groupers. And last Saturday, his charter had 6 scamp groupers over the wrecks and live natural bottoms in 135 to 160 foot of water. And he said the scamps really preferred the Boston mackerel for bait. Captain Todd limited out on beeliners up to 5 pounds. And he also caught some triggerfish, several triggerfish up to 8 pounds. Now, the scamp grouper usually run under 10 pounds.
All right, what do you got inshore, Russell?
Rick, going inshore, I talked with Captain Dennis Young, the Hot Fun Charters down in St. Augustine, and he said the topwater sea trout bite with the storm chug bugs will rock your world. He said that Captain Dennis is working along the shell beds and grass lines along the ICW in the North River at first light to about mid-morning. He said the sea trout are feeding on glass minnows and other bait fish in the clean and clear water of the flood tide. He said the typical sea trout are running anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds. Now, also, this is the best time of year to catch white shrimp from now to mid-September in the St. Johns River. Now, during the day, a lot of the shrimpers like to use their boats to cast, for the shrimp in the deeper holes near the points where the shrimp will group up during the daytime. But at night, when they move along the grass lines to spawn, you want to be able to shrimp under the docks in maybe 3 to 5 foot of water. Now, what you want to do is use some shrimp meal and mix it up with clay or flour so it'll hold the bottom. And that way all of the shrimp will, congregate around that shrimp ball. And then you can have several balls around the dock as you move from one area to another to cast. Typical count of the shrimp are running anywhere from 21 to 25 count.
All right, Russell.
Also, a note, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just wanted to share with you that the red snapper season will be open this weekend, August 23rd and 24th and the 25th. Don't forget to get by the strike zone in Jacksonville to stock up on all of your red snapper supplies.
Hey, Russell, I got a question for you. One, you know what? Everybody in your region needs to save those red snapper carcasses so that the FWC, and I'll find out, we'll put it on the show next week, they can put them in their freezer. We'll freeze them so that we can collect those eardrums out of those red snapper and measure exactly how many inches they can be and how old they are, aging the fish. But real quickly, those white shrimp you're talking about, how do you like to have those for dinner? Because you are our food expert.
Thank you, Rick, for asking. I love this. Rick, I tell you what, take your fried daddy out on the dock with you. Take you some beer, some self-rising flour, and when you catch them shrimp live, right then dip them in that batter and fry them fresh. They won't even make them to land not where I'm at.
All right, man. Thanks for the report. I'm going to go ahead and get this strike zone fishing hot from the Northeast region. Inshore, Captain Russell says, look for the tarpon on the last of the flood tide in Nassau Sound, just behind the breakers. You want to trickle chum with fresh cut pogies. And then offshore, red snapper mini season, August 23rd through the 25th. Fish the reefs and live natural bottom in 110 to 130 feet of water. Live baits work best. I think our boy Russell, he knows about those white shrimp.
He knows. We said it before. If you're not hungry before we talk to Russell, you're gonna be hungry after. Yep. That's for sure. Let's head now to the Central West with Captain Jeff Page. Jeffrey, you say swordfish are for night owls.
Yes, they are. But real quick, let's get the grease hot, Russell.
Exactly.
I bet he has it ready. I bet he does.
In our Starbright Central West region, you guys, it is a nighttime game. And all our guys that go out and target swordfish, they like to get out at least 100, 130 miles before they start, dropping baits down. So 130 on out, miles that is. And then what they're doing, Rick, is they're looking for temperature breaks, as well as they're watching their bottom machine for that 1,250 to 1,300 foot depth range. Once they find that seems to be the magic number. They're going to start putting out their rigged sword squids on 200 to 300 pound leader, along with 1 to 2 pounds of lead, and they want to put that about 10 feet away from their bait, their leads, with a Mardi Gras light as well. So what the guys are doing is they'll have 3 or 4 different rods, and they'll put one rod at 100 feet down, one rod at 200, one rod at 300, and one rod at 4. And then as the bites start occurring, then they'll adjust accordingly. And, it's a patient game. It's nothing you're just going to run out there and catch you a swordfish. It's an all-night affair, and the guys that have it patterned seem to do very well at it this time of year through October.
All right, tell me about what's going on during the daytime in your region offshore.
Gag groupers have been very, very consistent. They're still holding over structure. Once again, we've had a lot of rainwater, had a ton of rain today, yesterday, but they're in that 120 to 140 feet range. Live pinfish, big thread fins, grunts, squirrelfish, anything live have outfished the cut sardines 3-1. And another tip I mentioned a couple weeks ago that's still holding key is don't overlook your little breaks, your little ledges, your little rock piles that may only be a blip on the radar. Pay attention to that. I know you know more about that new Humminbird 360 as well as that structure scan, but it really can show you what's down there. Isn't that right?
No doubt, Jeffrey. The side scan and the structure scan, what it's allowing us to do now is not just to look out to the sides, but we're able to look to the sides and down and completing that 360-degree area, not like we were able to do before when we only had 180 degrees looking behind the boat. Now we can look forward to the boat. It certainly works very well for tarpon fishing and sail fishing that I like to do, so you can only imagine how it helps you find in structure. All right, let's go inshore, Bub.
Inshore, snook fishing, with snook seasoning opening only in a couple of weeks, the snook bite's been very consistent, especially at night. Anglers are doing real well off area bridges, as well as the Venice jetties, live silver mullet, live ladyfish, and big live pinfish have been the best bait for your bigger fish. With the smaller snook, taking a variety of, small live baits, and then for the artificial guys, that 1/4 ounce DOA glow shrimp's tough to beat, as well as the saltwater assassin sea shad in the violet moon pattern on the 1/8 or 1/4 ounce jig head. Let's all remember one thing, that the population is still way down. So let's not just keep them because we can come September. Myself and a lot of other guides that I've spoke with have all decided that we're not going to kill any this season, just to see what the numbers come out next spring. So take into consideration, I know the folks at CCA will appreciate it, and let's all practice catch and release this first opening of snook season. I have a photo tonight of a good friend of the show and a good friend of yours and mine. That's Cody Ricciata, DNR Automotive son Danny, with a nice snook he caught on a chartreuse skitter walk the other morning with me.
All right, let's go ahead. What else you got inshore for me,
Speckled
Jeffrey?
trout,
All right.
Lots of nice speckled trout holding in the big bait schools just inside any of our inlets, like Gasparilla Pass, Stump Pass, New Pass, Longboat Pass. Come inside the pass, get on those grass flats. As soon as you get in the pass, look for that bait sizzling. You can throw DOA, Mirrolure, Mirrodines, MR17 in the silver or the chartreuse silver pattern. It's a good bait that you're not always having to change the tail on. And the trout are averaging 15 to 21 inches.
Hey, good job, Jeffrey. I'm going to go ahead and get to the Startron hotspots from the Central West region. Redfish, look for those schools of mostly over slot-sized redfish holding on the outer bar of Bull and Turtle Bay in Charlotte Harbor. And then offshore, amberjacks holding on the wrecks and ledges in 120 to 160 feet of water. Use live blue runners, pins, or Williamson Vortex jigs and good stiff rod to make sure that you can catch those AJs and get them away from the wreck. Now, he was talking, Lauren, about potentially snook season is opening on the West Coast September 1st. What we're worried about as guides is that all the fish that we seem to be catching are inside of that slot. So if we open up that season and all the people who catch a legal size fish take them home, what are we gonna do a year from now when we don't have that fish that's over the slot, which would be protected forever?
Right.
That's what our concern as guides are. So anyway, it's up to the FWC. They make the rules and regulations, and if they want to open it up and let people take them, everybody has their own
But
right
again,
to
this
do
is
what they
why
want.
it's important for people to get involved.
Absolutely.
Have those
Absolutely.
opinions get heard, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, guys, when we return, we're going to have the Costa Conservation Minute, and we'll round out our reports with Captain Jim Ross. Stick around.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Reactor, the best built performance sports watch, period. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Strike Zone Fishing. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. And Yamaha, reliability starts here.
At highway speeds, things can get pretty windy. That's why the Chevrolet Cruze Eco has active aero grille shutters that close at higher speeds to improve aerodynamics. With an EPA estimated 42 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Cruze Eco offers the best highway fuel economy of any gas engine in America. Always thinking of ways to give you more while using less. That's American ingenuity to find new roads.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
You already know about the La Jolla Resort in Isla Mirada, so let's talk about the La Jolla experience. With an on-site boat ramp, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic is just minutes away. And when you return from fishing, there's barbecue pits to cook your catch while your family enjoys the pool or one of our new remodeled rooms. This historic resort, the La Jolla, is family-owned and operated and has a friendly staff ready to make your La Jolla experience a really great one.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Chances are you spent a lot of time in the outdoors when you were growing up. Hours spent fishing, hunting, camping, hiking, or simply playing in the outdoors helped you get connected with nature. Sadly, today's children are disconnected from nature. They spend nearly 8 hours a day on their computers or watching TV while the number of kids hunting and fishing continues to decline. And that's why the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, together with the Wildlife Foundation of Florida, created the FYCCN, the Florida Youth Conservation Center Network, to encourage kids to participate in the outdoors. A statewide network of conservation centers, the FYCCN features wild outdoor centers offering deep woods experience that connects to near outdoor sites in the communities where kids live. You can help kids learn to love the outdoors and become stewards of our precious outdoor heritage. You can help us create the next generation that cares. Go to fyccn.org to learn more. What do you think about that? Kids, we say it every week.
Every week.
I feel like we're not doing enough. Guys, if you have an email, send me an email if you think there's stuff that we can do even better. All right, just send it to rick@captainrick.murphy.com.
Yeah.
Spell out Captain.
Spell it out, guys. Let us know what to do for you. Okay, right now, let's get to the CCA Central East with Captain Jim Ross. Talk swordfish with us, Jimmy.
Well, I tell you what, Lauren, they're not as common as we'd like them to be, but, you know, Captain Brad Spalding is one of the guys who gets out there and floats around the Atlantic in the middle of the night and searching for those broadbills, and he does pretty good. In fact, his daughter Ashley landed the junior IGFA world record swordfish just a couple of years ago, and so they're real proud of that accomplishment. Of course, it's been surpassed now, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that's a great accomplishment to say, and it came right here in my region. Now, Captain Brad recommends running to about 1,000 or 1,200 feet and putting out lines this time of the year. He says put them at about 350 feet, 100 feet, and then a float rig, and he wants siloom sticks attached to all of those riggings. He says once you get drifting back in, like on a southeast breeze, up to about that 650 foot of water mark, you want to pick up, run back out east to that 1,000 or 1,200 foot mark, make another drift. Our average swordfish runs about 90 to 150 pounds, but you can catch fish up into the 400-pound range at times. And we've also got tarpon offshore. The action remains pretty good this week for anglers that are cruising up and down the beaches. They're rolling and busting in the bait pods right now, and you can slow troll live pogies or mullet or cast them into the pods. And one of the things I like to do is I like to rig them on a VMC 7/0 to 9/0 7385 circle hook, and I like to tie a piece of 80-pound Suffolk fluorocarbon leader to that. That's my standard rig. To that, I attach it to my 20 or 30-pound class main line, basically, and I use about 5 to 8 pounds of drag pressure on those larger fish. Our average beach fish is running about 75 to 100 pounds right now, but we've landed tarpon to over 140 on recent trips. I've got a little picture here of one of those fish that we landed just the other day right here in the Central East region. Typical size tarpon, a lot of fun. Keep them in the water. Be safe when you handle them. Put some gloves on. Then going inshore, we've got black drum. And all the area bridges and causeways right now have got drum around them. And a lot of the deeper sections of the lagoon also have drum around them as well the past couple of weeks. You want to check out on your bottom graph and find the schools and then use a piece of cut crab or a large shrimp in those schools. Now, a lot of times they'll stay in a small area, so as long as you don't run your outboard, you won't run them off, and you can catch multiple fish. And the black drum are running about 5 to about 25 pounds this time of the year. And I've got a picture of Ben Tobin and his buddy Ricky Reyes that came out with me just the other day, and they caught these two nice black drum in about 11 feet of water in the Indian River Lagoon. Now, we've also got redfish, and of course we always have redfish here in the Central East region, but right now the oversized redfish seem like they're holding best in the inlets. So Captain Glenn Austin reports pretty good numbers down at Sebastian, and he's drifting live baits on that outgoing tide while he's in his boat. Jetty anglers are hooking up on fish on the Rapala X-Rap 14s, or if you want to throw like a 4-inch to 6-inch storm swim bait. And most of those fish are measuring about 40 inches. Some are a little bigger than that. Our slot-sized fish are still hitting live and cut baits in all 3 lagoons. And you want to fish those baits near mullet schools in the 1 to 2 foot flats. The average fish is running 2 to 5 pounds. A little later in the day, drop off to the edges and get a little farther offshore. And Rick, I wanted to go over one thing real quick here. this weekend to help with the red snapper research awareness that the FWC is doing the otolith recovery on them and put the link on these fish. We're trying to put on a tournament Saturday the 24th at a Blue Points Marine in Port Canaveral. It's a $100 registration fee per boat, and all of the registration fees go to the dolphin tagging research program that's put on by Don Hammond. There's a $2,000 first place prize. There's 3 ladies divisions and 3 juniors divisions at this point. And even non-tournament anglers can win up to $100. If they don't sign up for the tournament but still want to bring a fish in, we'll give them a raffle ticket. They can win up to $100 cash, plus a whole bunch of other prizes. And, of course, you were very generous. Captain Rick Murphy is giving a full-day fishing charter to the person who brings in the longest red snapper to Blue Points Marina between noon and 6 on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. The person with the longest red snapper gets a trip on the Everglades with Captain Rick, and I'm telling you what, I wish I was in that tournament now because I want to win that one.
All right, Jimmy, I got a question for you now. You know, is this research just being done out of your region, or like I just mentioned to Russell, it's all on the East Coast? Are they going to be collecting these red snapper carcasses? Do you know?
It's up and down the entire East Coast. However, the red snapper are predominantly from about the Fort Pierce, St. Lucie area north. But we know that they're down in the Keys, too, so they have a couple of sites set up down there. I don't have all the site locations, but I know in Sebastian on Saturday they're going to be at the Sebastian Yacht Club from noon until 5 p.m. They're going to try to be at Blue Points Marina all 3 days from noon to 6 p.m. They've also got Sunrise Marina out of Port Canaveral. And I didn't get a location for the Halifax recovery site yet, but they're going to try to do it in conjunction with a tournament the Halifax Fishing Club is putting on this week. I wish I had some more information about that. If you'll check my personal Facebook page, or I'll forward the information to the Chevy Florida Insider Facebook page, we'll try to get as much information about that as possible because FWC needs this stuff for research so they can help have a plan in place to try to open the red snapper back up at some point in time so that the recreational anglers can get out there.
All right, great information, Jimmy. I'm going to go ahead and get to the Central East hotspots from the CCA region. Inshore, black drum in the Haulover Canal, use live shrimp or cut crabs on a standard bottom rig. And then offshore, red snapper on the 21 to 27 fathom ridges, use live pinfish or pogies on a standard bottom rig.
This has been a great week. We've got so many guys bringing out lots of great information about tournaments benefiting so many fantastic causes.
But that's what we do here, is
right.
we give you guys the information.
That's right. And when we come back, we're going to give you even more information about what's coming up next week. Stick around.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Hi. I lost a big fish earlier today. Wasn't using suffix. It was about this big.
Look, slow down there, cowboy, okay? A fish in the lobster van, huh? You want your fish. Sorry, honey, that fish is gone.
Always use the best line, Suffix 832.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
If you like fishing or the history of fishing, then I have a must-see place for you.
the IGFA Fishing Hall of Fame and Museum in Dania Beach. What makes the IGFA so cool is that they have theaters where you can learn about the journey of fishing, galleries where the kids can see antique reels or catch a big one. The Hall of Fame room has over 140 beautiful fish mounts, and maybe in the E.K. Harry Library, you may see a live alligator. For more family fun, go to igfa.org.
Next week, we're talking permit. Make sure to check us out next Thursday, August 29th. You can also catch repeats on Friday and Saturday. Just visit Sun Sports and your local listings for more details.
You know, Lauren, Randy, we got some little fishermen here. We got Michael, Javier, Patrick, and Chris. And guys, thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate you guys watching every week. And you know what? Show me real quick, how big's the biggest fish you ever caught? This big?
I'll get out of the way.
Yeah, back up, Randy.
This big? Show me with your hands. This big?
Very nice.
See,
Thanks for coming with us, Randy, this week.
Good job, guys.
Everybody.
Thank you for coming.